Just checking everybody again. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? Please react with a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, great. This session is recorded and will be made available on our website, and we'll also send you out an email with the recording. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's webinar session on mentorship in practice. Once again, my name is Kelly, and I'll be facilitating today's session. It's an honor to guide us through what promises to be an enriching and insightful discussion. Mentorship has long been a catalyst for growth, especially in academic and research environments. Today, we're privileged to hear from someone who not only excels in her scientific field, but also deeply committed to uplifting others in their journey. Let me take a moment to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Moagabo Ragoasha. Dr. Ragoasha is a lecturer in the Department of Oceanography and at the University of Cape Town, and physical oceanographer with expertise in numeral modeling. Her work focuses on understanding the dynamic ocean and atmospheric systems around Southern Africa. She is a research associate at the Nansen Tutu Center for Marine Environmental Research, and also serves on the Scientific Committee on Oceanic Research, Committee for Capacity Development, and a clear testament to her commitment to fostering global scientific collaboration and mentorship. Her academic journey is equally inspiring, spanning undergraduate and postgraduate degrees from UCT, culminating in co-badged PhD between UCT and the University de Bretagne. I'm sure there is a proper pronunciation for that. Please excuse me. In France. Beyond the lab, Dr. Ragoasha is passionate about the marine science engagement, student development, and mentoring. And she still finds time for reading, taking long walks, and watching anime. We are truly fortunate to have her today to share her perspective on mentorship in practice. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Moagabo Ragoasha. The floor is yours.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for the introduction. I should have put the University of West Brittany, because I'm also struggling to pronounce the French one, but it's Britannia, it's just Brittany. So thank you for having me. So I was asked to give a presentation on mentorship in practice. And this is just because at first I wasn't sure what to focus on, and because as I'm still like a young researcher, or what do they call it? I'm not imaging per se, like I forgot, what is it called? Yeah, it's almost because they're different. There's emerging, and then there's ones that are developed. So I'm still like 5 years post my PhD. I'm still trying to navigate the space and finding ways to keep my head above water. However, I think I'll just share what I've learned, and also what in doing so, what I'll be doing is also just taking from my experience, because the type of supervisor I am is I took it from my supervisor, because sometimes you have few supervisors, so you choose what you want to the good that you want to take from that experience, and what not to take. So, and I feel the pressure now because Amanda, my student, is in the room. So now I can't. So Amanda, yeah, I wasn't expecting you here, but it's good to see you. Just gonna share my presentation. I don't know if it's present. Okay. You guys are seeing the presentation, not the presenter mode, right? Cool. So I'm just going to switch off my camera if you guys don't mind. So
Moagabo,
yes,
it is presenter mode.
it's presenter mode. Okay. Where is it now? Oopsie. Because it was. Is it now fine?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to focus on is how does great supervision support growth? So here we're looking at support and not just growth, but also leadership and healthy work environments. Because, as a supervisor, one of the things that we don't consider is that we are training also future leaders. And it's quite important for us to ensure that we, especially in marine sciences, or in the sciences in general, that we retain students, that the experience that they have during their postgrad or even when they start off at work or whatever job they end up in, that they don't hate it. Because otherwise that on its own will have an impact on retention. So the outline of my presentation, so I'm going to focus about who am I, and also like what does it mean when we talk about to supervise, and I also added the support there, because supervision can take different forms. Some students, the kind of relationship you have with your supervisor has an impact, has an impact on your progress and also your success. So if you have support or not, it could lead to either like success or failure. And also I'm just going to try to give you guys a picture of what it looks like, what support looks like in practice. And why is it also important you as a postgrad student or as a young professional, a researcher, wherever you are, to build a healthy, here I just put research, but it could be a working environment. And I'm just going to also end on why does transformation matters? So who am I? So I'm from Limpopo. From a rural Limpopo. And this is where I did my primary and high school and high schooling. And I arrived at UCT in 2010, and I did a co-major in a BSc in Environmental Geographical Sciences and also in Ocean and Atmosphere Sciences. And I continued to do my honors and masters in Ocean and Atmospheric Sciences, also at UCT. And in 2020, I graduated in a PhD in physical oceanography. Although it was in Ocean and Atmospheric Sciences, but I was specializing in physical oceanography. And I later did a postdoc. So some part of it I did at UCT. I think I did 6 months at UCT, and then I did 8 months in Seyon Egagasini node. And while I was busy with the postdoc at Egagasini, I got a job at UCT as a lecturer. So the postdoc at UCT was more of a teaching postdoc, which I think was great. And another thing that, because I never considered a career in academia, is that when I was doing my PhD, I got an opportunity to teach in Rhodes. And that's when I got to realize that I actually love teaching. I did tutor during my postgraduate years, during honors and masters, but having the experience of teaching itself, I realized I actually loved teaching. During my career, I had some level of mentorship. In my undergrad, I was part of the Carnegie, I was funded by Carnegie Women in Science Scholarship, and that came with a mentor. And it had a positive impact because having a mentor who is outside academia, it's also helpful in a sense that you can talk to them about what your plans, all the problems that you have, you can talk to a mentor. And because certain things they're difficult depending what kind of a supervisor you have to discuss such with a supervisor. So I can just, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll just say, can we please talk because I'm going through this? Or if I'm making a big decision and I just want someone to talk to, I can just call a mentor. And also even now as a lecturer, I have a mentor, like, because navigating a career, you need every step of the way, you need a mentor. Like there's never like a time where you don't need one. Like they're very helpful. So I advise that you should have a mentor. And mentorship it could be someone from your field. You can have many mentors. There's no limit. You can have 5 if you can for different things. Even your peers can be a mentor. Which for me, it also, I had that in my academic even today. So with I'm just going to just talk about the differences between the like mentorship and supervision. So for me, supervision is more a supervisor will manage your work and a mentor helps to build your career. But what I'm going to talk to you in the next slides is that sometimes one can be two in one, combining why sometimes it's important to have a supervisor mentor support. So when you're looking at supervisor, their main focus is just your project or your task, whereas the mentor, it cares about you as a person, you as a scientist, but the important thing is you as a person. And when you're looking at the timeline, like with the supervisor is short term. So it's about just project deadline, the next paper, funding. And then sometimes they'll be like, oh, the funding is ended by like, okay, goodbye. They don't even care much about like like they don't even map out for you what can be your next uh, um, step. And yeah, so you get different supervisors who just care about like you producing the outputs, and then you graduating. What happens after your graduation, it's on you. Whereas when you have a mentor, they care about the long term. They care about your entire career plan, the next position. They challenge you, like they will challenge you to think about what is it that you want and how can they support you to get where you want to be. The core goal of a supervisor is just to get the research done correctly and efficiently, but sometimes you even have a supervisor who do not meet such goals. Like you find that some students have a supervisor, but they never see their supervisor. Like their supervisor is somewhere, and they don't keep track of whether are you reaching your milestones, what is it that you're struggling with, and also what can we help you, what kind of training do you need. Because I've seen situations where students will be doing a project that is big for them, or they don't have the necessary skills. And when as a person, as a supervisor, it's quite, for me, what is important is that you need to be aware that every student is different and they have some level of capabilities and also capacity to be capacitated or to be trained. And it's not a matter of like, oh, go do this thing, go find this data. Where is this data found? because sometimes some supervisors, they think like, okay, as especially at a master's level or an honors level, that the students are stuck, they don't know where to find something, but you need to guide them and say, okay, this is where you do, show them an example, and then they can work, like they can build up on that. So for example, when I was doing my PhD, my supervisor, Stephen Habit, at UBO, he was the type of supervisor who, because I did a lot of like MATLAB coding, and he was always available. Like he was always that person who sit down with me, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm stuck on this code, and we'll sit. Sometimes we'll sit for 3 to 4 hours until it's like 7 p.m. until we get the script working. And we had that relationship, and it also gave me a lot of courage to go try something and come back to him, and I know he will help me. So when we have a mentor, they help you to grow into an independent and successful person. So what I had with my supervisor, another thing, he used to say, I'm training you to be this person. So I know you in the next how many years you are going to be this person. And I used to laugh at that, but she's like, you need this kind of skills. So I'm going to make sure you have them. And so in him, I had the supervisor and a mentor in one. And also another thing with him, I remember when I used to go to France, he used to pick me up from the airport to make sure I'm sorted with where I'm staying. When I was sick, he used to take me to the doctors and all of those things, because it just showed me that I was valued, and also he cared about my well-being. And that is so rare, like in supervision. Like when I always tell people about my experience, like it's a rare thing to find such a person. Um, so the kind of the with supervision, when you're looking at the method that they use, is just directing and managing. So they assign tasks, they check your results, the managing of timelines. And whereas when you have a mentor, they is more of a guide, like a guidance and coaching. So they ask questions, they provide advice and wisdom. So even when you're a supervisor, which what I do is that I also make sure that the students, they do like the kind of research they would like to do aligns with their future like career ambitions. So what I do with students, if they want to work with me, I don't necessarily propose topics. I ask them, what is it that you want to do? What kind of topic you would like to do? And if I find that I'm not an expert in that topic, then I know who can I link that student with. Because at the end of the day, I want them to be aligned with their career path, not what I want from, like, I have this project and then they have to do what they need to do. If I have a project and that student doesn't want to do that project, it's fine. I'll have to find the student who would like to do that project. So it's quite important that you do not deviate from what you like to do, because sometimes it's easy to do that. You can deviate because now you need funding, and because some of the project, they come with funding, and like, oh, let me do this project because it's there's funding available there. So what we do, you get you propose a topic, I help you to apply for funding. Then if you get a funding, then I connect you with someone who has those expertise. So for example, I had a student who was doing honors, and she wanted to do ocean mining. There was a project that I did, but it was not mining per se. It was looking at the impact of ocean mining on the environment. So, but I was like, okay, you want to do that, then it's fine. She did the honors on that. Then she applied for honorary for masters. She got it, and then she later came, and then she said she wants to go to law to do mineral law. And I was like, and then for her to write, I had to write a letter for her. I was happy for her because now she's gonna do what she wants to do. I wasn't gonna say no. I want to now. Why did you? I worked hard with you. We got the funding. Now you want to go? No, I was happy for her that she found what she wanted to do, and the opportunity was there for her to do it. Now she's doing a PhD in law, from oceanography to law. So in the terms of how in supervision success is measured, it's about the papers, complete the thesis, field season, weather field work, did you collect your data? And sometimes the environment sometimes could be so harsh that they don't care whether you lose your, like, because mentally it could be hard on students, you're going through your personal life. Sometimes some supervisors do not care. They just want you to deliver at all costs. And so because of the environment that doesn't allow the student to say, okay, I'm not doing well, I know I have this, I need some time off so that I can focus on my mental health, or just I'm drained, I need to get a break and come back. But as a mentor, because they care about your long-term success, they will ensure that everything aligns, like I've been saying, so that you eventually you will secure a good job. So we're giving you the skills that you need for you to go out there and be competitive in the market. So relationship it's just based on their role as head of the lab of the project. That's why like a PI as a supervisor. Whereas for like what I said with my kind of supervision I give that power to the students to formulate their own project, right? We'll help with to scope it, but the aim is to make you responsible. You are the one who's driving your research, your own project, because you apply to NRF by yourself. While as with mentorship, it's based on trust, respect, and shared interest and future. So, well, like I said, when a student wants to leave, I had a student finish honors and then she's like, okay, I'm not ready to go do masters. I want to work. I was like, oh, sure, go and do your masters. I mean, your internship. If ever you want to come back, I'm happy. She did come back. She just she finished her masters now, and then she's planning to do a PhD. So this is how the being a supervisor mentor is important, right? So it helps us to integrate the growth and the work. So your day-to-day research are no longer a chore, like they become like an opportunity for development. So we know that, okay, what workshops could you need? What kind of training do you need? Who do I know who could help you with what you need? So it's not just you writing this paper to get it published. We can say we are writing in a way that ensures that you have a first authorship, and that you learn skills to respond to reviewers' comments, which you lead, especially for someone who wants to remain in research. So it's important to build such a skill. And another thing is that it's highly contextualized and it helps to give a relevant guidance. So if you have a mentor who's also a supervisor, it's much easier because I will have a first-hand knowledge of your project, your strengths, your weaknesses. So the advice that I'll give you will not be generic. It will be tailored. So every student has to be like for me, it's important that every student has to be treated as an individual with strengths and weaknesses, where you know that you need to be able to support and guide them. For example, it's just that a supervisor can say, I found you a statistical analysis. I can see that you're struggling with this. At the SAMS conference next month, which you're going to, I want you to connect with so and so who's an expert in this method, instead of just leaving their students to struggle by themselves. And it also it just builds a foundation of trust and psychological safety where a student can just ask, they can admit when they are not coping, like they are human, they need to be treated as a human, that that when they are going through something, they can come and not suffer in silence. And also, when writing a letter of recommendation, we are able to, because we know you as and what you've gone through. Because when you write a letter of recommendation, it's not necessarily about your academic, but what you have overcome as a person, which also can highlight the growth that one has gone through. So another thing I would like to add is peer mentorship. As you, wherever you are based or placed, you don't need a title to be a leader or a mentor. You can mentor another person. It's either by, for example, just showing them how to use art. Maybe you're an expert in programming, or you know a piece of equipment, and also just taking ownership on things that are happening. And if you're working in a lab, you can just do that. And also, so celebrating your a research group made successful experiment, or a paper, or an accepted abstract. So, I have people who I'm always happy to write anyone a recommendation letter. Like if you need a recommendation letter, like you need people who have your back, that have that support, that will give you a good recommendation for either funding or a job. So because some people, if you didn't have a good relationship with your supervisor, they can use that as a way to derail your career. So I am that person who, I believe that, a student, if you have issues with a student, you need to I in those situations, it's not personal. Even if a student, let's say, I want to work for my PhD, I'm going to work with someone else, I will not keep that as a grudge. Great, I'm happy for you that you sort of know where you want to go and who is going to take you there. So, and when it comes to transformation, I'll say that mentorship matters a lot. Because of the leaky pipeline, there's a lack of retention, because a lot of people, because of the experiences or what they've experienced during their postgraduate, they might say, I hate being in, I don't want to do this, I don't want to stay in this field. I want to change and go somewhere else. So I feel like mentorship is a key to fixing this leaky pipeline, and because it will foster diversity, equity, and inclusion by creating a supportive pathways for the talented scientists. And for me, what is important is for all backgrounds to thrive. Where when you are in a group, a research group, where a supervisor prioritize every student, not because you find situation where some students are favored over the other. So for me, what is important is that every student is different. Wherever they come from, the important thing is to provide them with the support for them to be successful. And the outcome here is to create a creation of future supportive supervisor mentors, which is, for me, it's because I had such a supervisor. I'm also doing the same thing. What I'll leave you with this. What you can do is, you need to be the captain of your own expedition. I like to use that because as a marine science, or as a sailor, or wherever, like, we are all responsible for our successes. So you are the primary driver of your career and development. You should be the one saying to your supervisor, I saw this workshop on this, I'd like to attend it. The worst thing that they can say is no, right? And another thing that I also mentioned is that you can have many mentors. Because some people, sometimes you feel like you need to be loyal to your supervisor, that you don't, because some people inherit enemies or whatever because their supervisor doesn't get along with a certain person. You shouldn't get yourself tangled in such things. So seek guidance from many sources, and you be the source of light for others. So if you've experienced something and you feel like I do not want anyone else to experience it, be that person to change such things. It's not easy, but it just takes it 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 takes one person to make that impact where it will reach others. So there'll be more. Now we're gonna create a newer generation of good mentorship, and people are willing to help each other. It's not a competition. And also, the health of the ecosystem you are in is sort of your responsibility. So, your actions, whether they're big or small, they build the culture you work in. And some places are a bit toxic, but you need to know when to be involved and know where this is my temporary place. I'm just going to be step and leave. And, like, in a way, I'm saying you need to choose your battles. Yeah. So I think I'll add, oh, before I end here, I decided to add this slide quickly because, sometimes you think things will get better. I'll get my PhD, I'll get my master's, and things will be better. But as an early career researcher, I still face challenges myself. It could be, when you're post PhD, could be what now? What am I going to do? And also just coping with that transition, the change, the process itself. It could be painful where now you used to have a supervisor who used to tell you what you need to do. We used to have like provide you with funding. Now you're alone, and imposter syndrome is normal. It's really I've asked even professors. They still say they experience imposter syndrome. So do not feel like uh um you feel like you're not good enough because of this. No, it's normal. And another thing is career issues. Sometimes you think, okay, I've done this and then I'll get a job and then it might not be available. And also lack of resources when it comes to funding could complicate life, because once you become a researcher and you're becoming independent, you need to now be the one who's sourcing your own funding. And time management is the biggest thing ever. Like, because when you're studying, you only focus on studying. But when you're working, you need to now manage a lot of tasks. And now this requires some time management. Um, with that, I would like to thank you for your attention. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I don't know
Thank
if,
you.
yes, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ragoasha. Anyone with questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions, or you can also drop them in the chat. And while Dr. Ragoasha is attending to your questions, I'll be running a poll. Please also answer the questions there. So anyone? Remember, a supervisor manages your work, a mentor helps build your career and cares about you as a person and more of long term. That's what I took out from today. So any comments and questions? Oh, yes, please unmute yourself, Janelle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Doc, for the presentation. I wanted to ask you a question from a supervisor's perspective, and a student's perspective. When in situations where you're doing a project that's never been done before in the university, and now lecturers are skeptical of supervising you, how do you deal with that?
Hi, Janelle. Thanks for that question. So if you are in that situation where your supervisors in your institution do not have the expertise to supervise your project, I'll advise that you find someone, even if they have to, even if they're outside your institution, like see if you can approach whoever you think have they have the expertise. So, for example, I'm just going to give an example with myself. When I was doing my PhD, I had someone. Okay, I did the opposite way. There was a supervisor who was not useful. I dropped them. I was like, I'm not going to keep you around if you're not necessarily going to be useful. But for your case, you need to look outside your institution. Like I've been saying that sometimes when I have students and they're doing a project that is beyond my expertise, I reach outside because it will be unfair on that student.
Okay,
I
thank
hope
you.
I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, any more questions? The poll has already started. You can answer. Zandile, yes, please. Shoot.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Doc, for the presentation. My question is based on mentorship. So how do I build a fruitful relationship with a mentor?
Okay. Thank you, Zandile, for that question. You know, it's quite important to know what is it that you expect from your mentor. And it's also important for you to, it's something that you have to agree with your mentor. Like, because sometimes your expectation might exceed what the mentor will like or is able to perform or to provide. So you need to be with a mentor that you feel like you connect. That is important. If you don't have that, don't force it. Like try to find another person. That's the nice thing about mentorship is that it doesn't necessarily, it's not like a supervisor where you can just drop and go somewhere easily. But with a mentor, it's quite important that you connect with that person, which will make that relationship much easier. And it's like I already said, that it's quite important to know, agree with that person that what the relationship will look like. What is it that you expect from them and what they expect from you before you even proceed. Did I answer your questions, Andile?
Yes, Doc. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Lovely presentation. I mean, we learned a lot, and it's so relevant to what we want to do with the Mahlalela mentorship program. So yeah, we're taking some good points here. I saw Wade has a question, but I just wanted to say, or just get your opinion, based also on the poll. The second question asked, which type of mentorship do people prefer, whether it's peer-to-peer or a supervisor-led type of mentorship? Because we are planning to roll out the second iteration of the mentorship program, which will involve pairing mentees and mentors. So while you were here, I was just wondering, with everybody who's joined, potential mentors and mentees, if you would have any advice on how we would go about rolling out this mentor-mentee match, whether it should be group to one mentor ratio. Yeah.
Okay, so if I prefer one-on-one. So even if it's a group to one person, when they meet their mentor should be one-to-one, so that they can have that space to, where they are comfortable to um share whatever they're experiencing. Because remember, a mentor, you can share personal things with them, your mentor. It doesn't necessarily just be about your work, because that's what a lot of people think about mentorship. Like, you need someone who's sometimes you just need someone to just listen to you, like you had a horrible week, or you're panicking about something, and you just like, can I just talk to you quickly about something? And they have to have that kind of relationship. And another thing that I will advise that should be done is it's a mentor-mentee training, which I recently did last year with my mentor at like the one in academic one. Although she's academic, but she's also like, I talk to her about everything that I need. But the reason why I said this, the workshop or the training itself, it helps for people to know what is mentorship, what is you as a mentee, what is your responsibility, and what as a mentor, what is your responsibility. You as a mentor, the mentor mentee, they have to sit together and agree that how is it a relationship going to look like, how many times are we going to meet, how do I access you, do you want me to, can I use WhatsApp? Can I, just to have boundaries around, so that which will inform how the relationship can go about. And also for conflict resolution, what happens now, uh, you as the program, that if a mentee, you messed up a mentee with a mentor, you should make it possible that they can say like, oh, I think I need, can you rematch me? Can you rematch me, because I don't think is working for me. And that should be allowed, because you don't want to create a situation where someone is matched with someone and they're not happy with it. It defeats the purpose of mentorship. So yeah, I think that's my points, that I think that what's important going forward for the program to consider.
Okay, thank you so much for that and the advice and guidance. Wade, you had a question, your hand was up.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to ask, so there's often this misconception that a mentorship setup is more of it's a take, and I'm gaining all these knowledge and I'm gaining all these skills. But what would you say is the benefit in mentoring, in actually mentoring from the other side? Because a lot of the times people don't want to do it because their workload is so full and they don't know how to get the time to do it. So what would you say is one of the biggest benefits in that? You might have probably answered it already.
No, thanks, Wade. I think from the mentor side, for me, I'll just speak for myself, is that with being a mentor, seeing the impact that one has on a mentee, like, the support that one provides. It's the least I could do. I mean, for me, I had mentors all my life, and I've seen the impact they have on my life, and I would like to pay it forward. It's a selfless service. So it's quite important that it's not forced on people to do it. Even if, let's say, for example, you don't get people from the marine sciences or wherever, like, reach out to outside, because for people who want to be mentors, because being a mentor, it doesn't have to be like the same field or career. you'll be surprised what kind of guidance you'll get from, because they have experience of life in general. Because remember, mentorship is on the person part, right? So it's important to ensure the person is at the center is good. Then the rest will follow. We'll just orbit around that. So I think for me it's seeing the positive impact of it. And it's quite important for also mentee to realize that it's a volunteer it's a voluntarily a service. So if you are ready to have a mentor, you need to make sure that you work with your mentor. Don't just like make it difficult for them because they are just doing it from the goodness of their heart. And don't have high expectation, like I said, and in level of entitlement. So you need to help your mentor to know how to help you. So because at the end of the day, it's for yourself, how to develop yourself, how to grow as whoever you want to grow into. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So going back to the polls, the first question is, do you feel you've received adequate support from your mentor or supervisor in your academic? And most of us, we are saying yes. And 11% saying no, not really. And the second question was, what type of mentoring has been most beneficial for you? And our answers are supervisor, manager, led mentoring. Okay. 22% peer-to-peer mentoring. Then external mentorship, about 33%. And our final question is, which area do you feel mentorship is most needed in your current environment? Most of us, we're saying academic writing and publishing. Thank you so much for sharing these insights. We really appreciate. Do we have any last questions, comments? Well, if you have something. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. I just find it interesting that most people indicated that they would like support in academic writing and publishing. And to those who joined the last webinar where we hosted Dr. Olisa on scientific writing, so that was one beneficial webinar on that. And if you missed it, you can catch the recording on the SAPRI website. I did share a link and I'll put it again in the chat. But yeah, that's quite interesting. And of course, you'll also get the recording of this webinar on the SAPRI website. We'll share it when it's available. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Rabia. All right, everyone. A very special thank you goes again to our speaker, Dr. Moagabo Ragoasha, for generously sharing her journey, expertise, and reflections on the mentorship. And your words reminded us that mentoring is not only about guidance, it's about nurturing growth, opening doors, and creating spaces where others can thrive. Everyone, I hope today's session has sparked ideas, offered encouragement, and maybe have even nudged some of us towards becoming mentors ourselves. Let's continue these conversations beyond today.
Is it me or is Kelly frozen?
Okay, are we back?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
back. You're the one who was gone. We lost you there.
You lost me there. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. Well, just to wrap it up, an update on the next session. It will be on the 20th of August, 2025. This will be on financial literacy. Please keep an eye on our social platforms with updates. Well, until next time, thank you for being with us. Keep growing, keep reaching out, and above all, keep the mentorship flame alive. Until next time, guys, goodbye.
Bye.
I've stopped recording.